What's going on, guys? Nathan here, and today I'm going to show you how I tricked my brain to start consistently winning at poker. These are the top 6 lessons that I learned in my professional poker career that really changed everything for me, and I think that will help some of you guys out too. Alright, so let's jump into it, guys. In no particular order, these are the 6 things that really skyrocketed my game. Number 1 is to stop bluffing the fish. Guys, I really had to learn this one early because this was my biggest hurdle early on. I would consistently smack my head against the wall by trying to bluff somebody who doesn't like to fold, and that is what the fish do. They love to call anything. They will chase any bottom pair or any draw. They will call you with ace high. They will mortgage their house in order to make the call. So guys, you need to learn how to give up, and I'm going to give you an example hands, by the way, of every single thing on this list to help explain it better for you. But you've got ace queen versus a fish on the river, and again, these are the players that play any kind of crappy hand. They call you down with anything, and the river comes with the king jack 7 for 3 with 3 diamonds. Guys, you should absolutely just be checking and giving up in a spot like this. If you try to do some sort of tricky play that you saw Daniel Negreanu do in a $10 million cash game, believe me guys, it's just going to go completely over their head, and they're just going to call you down with their king deuce for top pair, with their 7-6 for middle pair, with their ace 3 for bottom pair. They're not going to fold any of these hands, guys, and you're just going to lose, and you're also going to end up putting yourself on tilt because you're just going to get frustrated when this person calls you with their bottom pair, and this is going to get you frustrated and cause you to play poorly in future hands as well. So guys, take it from my 10 plus years as a professional in this game. Learn to give up in situations like this. Do not try to bluff the fish. They don't like to fold. You need to understand when it's better just to lay it down and pick a better spot. Let's move on to thing number 2, which is floating aggressive poker players. So let's talk about a totally different player type now, the aggressive players. This is the number 1 player type that people ask me about these days because the games are aggressive. A lot of people like to bet and raise a lot. So you've got ace king on the turn of 10, 8, 8 jack, rainbow, meaning that there is no possible flush on this board. So we're going to assume that a loose and aggressive player bets again in a situation here, guys. You need to be making the call here. A lot of people will get gun shy in a spot like this. They'll just lay their hand down. They'll choose to pick a better spot. But guys, you're just playing into their game in a situation like this. Trust me, this is the style of play that I play myself and that I teach and everything that I put out. So I know that I have a lot of bluffs in my range here. For example, hands like ace queen, king queen, I'm going to be barreling again here almost all the time. Pocket 9s, pocket 7s, pocket 6s, even smaller pocket pairs as well. A loose and aggressive player is often going to be betting here again on the turn, and I hope that some of you savvy poker players already noticed that we actually did pick up a gut shot straight draw on the turn here. If it came with a queen on the river, we would make the unbeatable nut straight. Also, we have counterfeit outs in a situation like this, so if they do have a hand like pocket 6s that they're just barreling with here, if it comes with another 10 or another jack on the river, we would counterfeit that hand. Remember guys, it's the best 5-card poker hand in Texas Hold'em, and our ace would play in that scenario. So guys, you need to understand that versus the highly aggressive poker players like this, the way to beat them is to make large multi-street call downs sometimes when you have equity like this and on board textures like this where it's very likely that they have a lot of bluffs in their range. Let's move on to thing number 3 that really skyrocketed my poker winnings, and that is learning to abuse the limpers. Alright guys, so when somebody limps pre-flop, and by the way, that is the act of just calling the blind before the flop, you should literally learn to view this as free money. This is the biggest light bulb moment that came for me early on in my poker career, is I saw all of these loose players limping along, the fishy players typically, and often I would just limp behind them like a lot of people love to do. But the problem is guys, when you do that, you only give yourself one way to win, just like them, which is making the best hand, and we all know how often that comes around in poker. So the way to beat these players is to raise them up pre-flop with any kind of playable hand. For example, a hand like ace 5 of hearts. In a $1, $2 cash game, somebody's limped. I'm going to be raising this up to like $8, $10, whatever amount is going to give them a real decision to make before the flop. You need to figure out what that amount is in your games. But guys, I'm going to be taking any anything, 10-7 suited, queen 10 offsuit, pocket fours, it doesn't matter. I am not going to limp behind in a situation like this. If I have anything playable, I'm going to get aggressive. I'm going to let this player know that, hey, this is my pot, you're a guest in my pot, and I'm going to be applying consistent pressure on you throughout this hand, and that's how you're truly going to get ahead in this game. All right, guys, so the fourth thing that I learned that really skyrocketed my poker results is to pay attention to my position. Guys, you need to understand that not all seats at the poker table were created equal. There are some that are far better, and I put the image on your screen right now so you understand what I'm talking about. Guys, the cutoff and the button, the two green seats on your poker screen, those are the two seats that you're going to make the vast amount of your money in poker, your profits, for the simple reason that you get to see what they do first. And this is a massive proven statistical advantage in poker because you always have that information when you're choosing to make your decision. You can choose to bet, you can choose to raise, or you can simply choose to fold your hand if you think you're beat and save yourself some money. So guys, I'm not saying to not play any hands from EP, MP, early position, middle position, or from the blinds, but you want to skew or bias your starting hand selection heavily towards the cutoff and the button. Remember, we just talked about isolating the limpers, and that is raising them up. I do that specifically from the cutoff and the button as much as possible. All right, let's move on to the fifth thing that really skyrocketed my poker results, and that is learning how to hand read. Guys, you need to be able to narrow somebody's range of hands down and to specifically put them on just a handful of hands. All good poker players understand the importance of this. Let me give you an example. You've got two red aces and you get raised on the river of 3, 6, 7, 8, 10 rainbow, meaning once again that there is no possible flush on this board. If you are up against any kind of tight, reasonable thinking opponent who is watching videos like this, who takes the game seriously just like you are, believe me guys, this player is going to show up with a set or a straight like 95% of the time. These players don't bluff in a situation like this, guys. They're going to show up with a hand like pocket threes, pocket sixes, pocket sevens, pocket eights, or pocket tens, or some sort of 9. And where a lot of people go wrong though is they convince themselves that, oh, this player's going to have a hand that I beat like pocket kings or pocket queens. Guys, you need to understand that these players are not going to play a hand like that in that manner. They would have raised earlier in the hand, specifically before the flop or on the flop, in order to protect their hand. They're not going to just call and then suddenly raise you on the river. So guys, this is a classic situation where you need to be laying your hand down. You need to understand what hands that a player like this is representing, and basically the bottom line is it's a hand that beats one pair, which is all that you have. A lot of people tend to get what I call married to a big pocket pair like pocket aces in a situation like this, guys, but you need to understand pocket aces is just one pair, and often big pots in Texas Hold'em are won by a hand that is 2 pair or better, and that is exactly what this player is representing in this situation. All right, guys, let's move on to the final tip that helped me trick my brain to start consistently winning at poker, and that is to finally stop paying off the nits. Guys, there is nothing that tilts me at the poker table more than paying off these tight rocks and nits. You've no doubt seen them in your poker games. These are the players that sit around waiting for the nuts all the time. They're always waiting for their pocket aces or their kings. They're trying to set mine and hit the 3 of a kind or their flush or their straight or whatever. Guys, do not play into the game of these players. Once again, you've got pocket aces and you get raised on the turn of 9, jack, 8, 5 with 2 diamonds. Again, this is a classic situation, guys, where they're not going to be bluffing. Number one, this is a very draw heavy board, so there are a ton of suited connectors that have absolutely smashed this board, like 9-8, jack-8, 10-9, and so on. 7-6 also made the straight on the turn, and queen-10 flopped the nut straight. So there's all of those hands, plus all of the diamond draws, and also, once again, all of these sets. The pocket 9s, the pocket jacks, the pocket 8s, the pocket 5s, and so on. These are the hands, guys, that a tight player, specifically a nit, is going to raise you here on the turn with. Guys, they're not raising you here with king jack. They're not raising you here with ace 8. You need to understand that these nitty players are incredibly passive. They do not like to raise without an extremely strong hand, specifically 2 pair or better. Guys, do not play into their game. You can literally fold your hand face up in a situation like this and save yourself money. Just laugh it off. They've been waiting for their 2 pair for the last hour, sitting in the corner, never getting involved. When they decide to start raising you like this out of the blue, it's because they have it. Don't pay them off, guys. All right, guys, like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. And if you want to know my entire strategy, by the way, to beat the small stakes games, including what hands to play with charts and diagrams and everything, make sure you grab a copy of my free poker cheat sheet. That'll be the top link in the description below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope this one was helpful. I will catch you next time.